Time has come for the best team in the NFC East. Your Philadelphia Eagles. You know what? I'm doing this off the top, bro. I didn't even make a list. Didn't even
Well,
make a list.
I could name this
Didn't even make a
99.
list. We
Name this
this is
team
gonna be just
9 man.
open conversation. See where
I
your
could
head
name
is
this
at.
team 9 man roster blindfolded, bro. It's easy.
You know what I mean? See where your head is at, and let's talk. So, number one, is it as easy as the quarterback? You think, or is there somebody else who you would put as number one?
The best player in the Philadelphia Eagles is AJ Brown, without a doubt.
Hmm.
There's not a more talented football player on the field.
Not giving
I
love to
mean,
Saquon
mm,
behind in this offense. We haven't seen him. What was the Giants the worst rated run blocking team since he's been there? No.
AJ AJ Brown.
Yeah, I don't think you. I think we had this conversation before a little bit before. I don't feel like you're the biggest Saquon fan.
No, I love Saquon.
Okay. Because
No,
I
I
remember,
love
I think
Saquon. I'm
I
not.
was talking about making a bet with him, and you were like, "Nah, don't do it." You weren't feeling it. It was a
He
bet about him being, was it offensive player of the year, I think, or something like that, and you
Yeah,
just
AP
you're like,
offense.
"Nah."
That's Saquon. The only reason I say this is because I really love Saquon the player, and the offense.
Uh,
That's fine. It's beneficial for him, but I've got to see his body go through the season, and that's just it is what it is. I mean, that
yeah,
reflects on
yeah,
how I'm going to play fantasy and all that. I mean, he gets a lot of hype. My running back this year that I think is going to have the most hype in fantasy is Bijan Robinson. So,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, Saquon, he's just not as far as like I said, most talented football player on the team and most valuable player to the team where we stand today is AJ Brown.
Agreed, agreed. No, I agree. I would start with AJ. I was hoping to reel you in with the Jalen talk, but you perked up. You weren't even doing it.
Nah,
All right, hit me with your number two.
Lane Johnson, without a question.
Lane. Lane over Mailata at this point.
Still, I mean, until Lane hangs it up, it's the same thing as Peters to Lane. You can't, you don't put the student ahead of the teacher. You just don't. It's not appropriate. I mean, Peters was putting up good football up into damn near 41 years old. I mean, he was, not for the Eagles. He was having good reps for God. I think it was like Chicago and Seattle. Dallas was one of the teams, but he kept going. Jason just kept going, but I just what Lane brings to this offensive line, what he brings this team as a whole, he's one of the best tackles in football, one of the best right tackles of all time. You can't discount that value.
Well, I discounted Mr. GM. I'm not going Lane. I'm going Mr. Jalen Carter
I'm
as the
so
second.
happy you put him because we don't have to argue about number three because I
Yeah,
I
I'm
have him as
putting
my number
I'm
three.
putting Jalen Carter. Even though it was a rookie year last year, obviously we saw. I think he was the third. I think if I'm correct me, not you. I'm messing up with my stats, but I think he was third most double team interior lineman in the league, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, Donald was one. I forget who was
It was
two.
a dog shit scheme, but let me just tell you that Jalen Carter put some special things on tape.
For
Uh,
sure, for sure, for
I
sure.
mean, you're talking about
Abs-
second level effort. You're talking about athletic
Preach,
trait, but
preach.
it's hand movement and the ability to displace people that
Yeah,
was
he's got
just
he's got the hump move like Reggie a little bit. He's got the
dude.
little bit of the hump move
He
that Reggie had.
dude. I think he goes in there and it's just like I'm gonna I don't give an f. I'm gonna move this guy in front of me out of his spot, and I don't care how it happens, but he's moving like, and it's just he. There's some effort and some conditioning that comes into question.
Oh, for
That,
sure,
that's
for
a
sure.
fact. Carter and Davis struggled with conditioning and weight last year. Eagles
I
keep
mean,
all that tight, really
up
tight. But
until the end there, he was leading as the defensive rookie of the year. He was all the way odds
Yeah,
wise for a while.
that's. I don't think there was a shot in hell Jalen Carter was winning Defensive Player of the Year
No?
because the media controls that. No, not with what happened in his offseason after college, but
Okay, I see what you're saying.
there was no way in hell they weren't going to. And I'm not. This is no shot at Jalen
But
Carter.
the first 8 games, I mean,
He was
hot 10-0.
Yeah.
When they were 10-0, he was hot. Right?
He was. But I just don't think there was a way the media would have let that happen. The NFL awards are kind of getting to the point where they're a little bit of NBA-ish, as like, just appease the people. And not to insult my NBA fans there, but it is what it is. It's the big thing here is Carter's one of the best young defensive tackles in football, if not the best. And with Aaron Donald retired, it's time for somebody to take the throne. And there's a strong chance that Jalen Carter could be that player.
I don't think he's that.
No, I'm talking about, but I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Donald. I'm talking about one of the best defensive tackles in football. I mean, there's an absolute blank.
No, he is.
Gone.
Yeah, and not even young, just a general blank statement.
Yeah, just a general blank spot. I mean, there's a chance we are going to rename the best defensive tackle in football this year. It's just a matter of we need to see the games.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, I like the way you kind of said that. Yeah, so for number me, I think it's Jalen Carter, and it's. I mean, in terms of importance to this team, that they need somebody to like show up and be that guy. Well, you got AJ or Jalen. I mean, or Carter. Like, who do you need to show up? And for the Eagles, like
on offense, it's AJ. On defense, it's Jalen Carter. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean,
all right. Who could you take having a bad season, and we would still be okay?
Neither. Those are two important players. It's just if AJ were to take a step back, the wide receiver room lacks so much depth. And if Jalen Carter were to not take the lead they expect him to take, then the defensive tackle room is lacking depth. So it's just.
I think the whole defense lacks.
I mean, if Carter doesn't, I agree with you.
I think it's Carter. Honestly, it's Carter.
My problem is the proven fault of not having Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
Where when we don't have Lane on the field, we suck that bad. Just it's like
over time. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like through coaches, through quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. This dude has been that reliable for that long.
Yeah.
I just don't think he somehow goes from here to here. Whereas like Carter, I have to have him go from here to here. You know what I mean? Like I really need him to take that step. And that's why I just put him at 3 over. I also have Jalen Carter over Jalen Hurts. So let me just say that might be
for sure.
I mean, that's
Hurts
the
not in
most
my top
talented
4.
player on our defense.
Hurts is not in my top 4.
Oh.
I know, but I'm people know me as a Hurts hater, so I'm not a Hurts. I've come around on Jalen, and I've admitted when I was wrong when they had the Super Bowl run because I didn't think he was that. Now last year,
I tell you, Jalen Hurts was anything that he's not, but I will just say second in total touchdowns in the NFL is something. So if that's a bad year, that's a bad year.
I think he made a lot of bad decisions, and then now these little things that are coming out about his personality, so not concerning, but I'm listening. I'm just hearing it a little bit, like the little thing with
McNabb when this all happened to McNabb, but I remember all of this happening to Donovan, and it just
yeah. But I think the difference between that is that Andy was such a strong head coach, like a strong figure. And I think, and that was young Andy, right? Andy was still coming into his own.
Andy's special. It doesn't matter if he's younger. It's like
Belichick. It is. No, you're right.
Young Belichick got Lawrence Taylor to, stop worrying about what was going on in the local dorm rooms and figure out what was happening, on the football field. I mean,
on the football field, yeah. Andy's special. You're absolutely right. Andy's special, and no knock on Nick, but I mean, everybody's already asking the question like, what does Nick Sirianni do? And when you ask your starting quarterback who's an MVP candidate and he doesn't come back with a response in terms of almost endorsing what Nick does, that's somewhat concerning. Now we could read between the lines there a little bit,
He
but from
never
a player's
endorsed
view,
Doug. He never
like
endorsed
you could
Doug.
have said some, you could have said some stuff,
He
bro.
never
Like, come
endorsed
on, bro.
Doug. He never endorsed. I mean, dude, it took pulling teeth to get the guy to endorse Nick Saban. I mean, it's like he just maybe because his dad's a coach, the best coach in the world's his dad. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's such his personality. It's like I don't know why we're deep diving onto him now. It's like I get it, the 6 game skid and everything, whatever.
Yeah.
Here we go. But I say it point blank. I mean, yeah, it's bad turnovers last year. That's what he needs to fix in my book. But I mean, he was second in total touchdowns, so he was doing something right.
Yeah. I mean,
In a broken schematic.
we look for holes, right? We look for holes in where they, where we can already make this go wrong in our heads, and as Eagles fans, for whatever reason, we can't have anything nice, as they say.
Oh no,
So
we can't. What are you talking about?
so
Anything.
it's Super Bowl or bust for them. Like that's what it is with the Eagles. So
yeah, it is. Who's your player? So my player 3 is Jalen Carter.
So 3 is Saquon for me.
It's Saquon at 3.
Yeah, I have Barkley. At 3.
You want to make a parlay on our bet because like apparently I've called you about the Saquon bet. Then I'm also going to call you out about James Bradbury not making the team.
Yeah.
You want to parlay that?
I want to parlay that. I don't know what those odds would be. No, but no, I think it's Barkley because I think he has there's an opportunity here for us to bring back the days of Westbrook in terms of that dynamic at the running back position. And getting over
Barkley's going to be like
he's to me he's the X factor of the whole team. Because if he has a big year, now
did you know
CMC
that taking the team on weekend golfing trips?
Yeah, but it's with different players. It's not with players who you would expect. I think I read.
No. He's trying to learn the whole team. Saquon is a pretty damn good leader, bro.
It's a different vibe that he's doing. That I did see that. Yeah, I did see that.
He's taken a pretty big leadership role. I like what I've heard from the locker room. A lot of players like Saquon. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. He could potentially be
the CMC of what CMC did for Sanford if they run the offense that way, right?
Yeah.
And that's always been a question with Kellen Moore. But even with Kellen Moore, them dump offs, get out, get the ball out. Obviously emotion, all the stuff that they're all talking about.
I got a name for you. Yeah,
go ahead.
Todd Gurley MVP year. I don't know if you remember how he was used that year, but no, I'm just talking about use. Just talking about use. Instead of trying to make Saquon the twitchy, responsive, like a lot of contact CMC gets, they evaded a lot of contact for Todd Gurley in passing formations. Like empty mesh and just kind of have Gurley come across. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like hit him in stride for first downs. I mean, it's like
because
one thing about the Eagles is they are conservative, whether you want them to be or not to be. They are going to be conservative, and
you think
they're going to have Barkley on a pitch count. It's guaranteed. They had DeAndre Swift on a yes.
No way.
Yes, you can look it up. Swift was a known injury-prone player. He played an entire season with the Eagles.
This ain't Swift though. We talking about Saquon.
Who blew his knee up twice. That's not. I mean,
yeah, I don't know about that.
He will be. Dude,
I don't know about
I
that.
bet you his most runs. In a game in 2 games this year come against at the Giants and at home versus the Giants. He'll get 20-something
Oh
carries.
yeah, well, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
But
but I mean,
I don't think
but,
I don't think they're
go
gonna
ahead.
I don't think they're gonna turn him into anything, that he's gonna get stats off of his opportunities, but I'm just saying, I just don't know if they're gonna try to make him. And again, I mean, maybe they just say, "Screw it, let's burn the tires off." Like
Oh yeah,
there's
like that, and that's what I was saying with Bradbury. Like people, like you were talking about Bradbury, and he's not going to be on this team, and his
no
cap hit
Bradbury's
and
not
all that stuff.
easy, but we can bet we can
Like
bet
we're
money.
all in this season, all
Bradbury's not playing.
hands.
Bradbury's not playing.
Oh man, all right, what's the bet, bro? What's the bet for Bradbury? I feel
We'll do
Bradbury
100 on Bradbury.
game one.
Week
Bradbury is
one,
on the
by week
roster.
one,
Week one.
Bradbury will not be a Philadelphia Eagle.
You think he's going to be traded or released?
Do it specify that, or just
No, that's not. I'm just saying that's a general question.
how he found a way to trade Byron Maxwell? I mean, if it was a trade, it's going to be some goofy ass thing where it's going to be like a conditional seventh if he plays 297 snaps this season. Like it would be
What's his
awful.
cap hit? What's his cap hit? Like 2 million?
No, dude. Bradbury makes like 10, I think, this year.
Yeah, but isn't this the way it is? His cap hit is like dumb
Do you
low.
remember when they signed Alshon Jeffrey to that extension? And it was like
Uh,
stupid as shit. And it was like everybody was like, "Oh, why'd they give Alshon that money? He's always hurt." That's what we're doing with James Bradbury. He's just not worth the money that we signed him to, and how he knows it. So he's doing the typical thing of trot him out at safety during minicamp to try to arouse some other love. I mean, we did it with Zach Ertz, man. We held Zach Ertz till the trade deadline just because how he was being spiteful and traded him for Tay Gowan in the 6th. So it's
so what's the bet again?
$100. He's not going to play for the team.
$100. $100. All right,
Week one, he
I
will
got
not
him
be
at
on the
week.
roster.
I got.
On the
I
initial
got him at week
53, James Bradbury will not be on the team.
The initial 53. So that's the game day roster.
No, that would be the day that rosters are set, which is
That. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right because they don't mean. What they dress 46 or something like that. I think.
I think it's
Okay.
God, dude. It might be 49 now. It's like 48
Yeah.
because remember they have the emergency quarterback.
Yeah,
because
the emergency quarterback now. Yeah.
Remember Reddick killed Purdy, so they have a new rule. Just remember that.
Right.
They have a
And
whole
then
new
we
rule.
killed
But
the
I'm just saying,
backup.
Bradbury's not playing for the team, and
All
I'm
right.
I'm standing on that. It's
Okay.
not happening. They drafted too many young kids. They've got it's a log jam. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They're
All
just
right,
gonna
we'll see.
eat it.
Just make sure you have my $100 in singles.
Oh, I
You
got
know, Mr.
singles.
Yeah. See,
All right.
hey, you came back from the
Hey.
Bachelor. But I do agree. I looked at Gurley's Todd Gurley's numbers, and yeah, he did go off on that 17-year, 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns, and almost 800 yards receiving. That was, I agree.
But
With
if you look back and to see some of the ways they used it, was it was like a conservative passing approach. It was pretty cool. Like
yeah.
it was about just burning the tires off, but keeping him healthy for the whole season. Like it was just dump off here, dump off there. Like it was nice.
Kellen Moore's offense obviously is different than what they had, so we'll see how he uses them. I mean, Jalen doesn't, that's on Jalen too, right? Get the ball out fast. I mean, that's what Kellen Moore kind of had Herbert doing. As soon as that pressure came, they knew his hot read right away.
Jalen said it's a 95% new offense, so we'll see.
Yeah, that tells me he don't know shit.
he just
that's what that tells me. And you can't coach how somebody processes information. That's on the person.
Well, he processes his S2 cognition test is one of the top percentile, so he's supposed to process information at an elite level.
And that's exactly. You know what I mean? But we saw last year.
He's supposed to.
Yeah, it was supposed to. So we will see. So just a recap of the Eagles. So far, we have 1, AJ Brown. We both agree. Little disagreement on 2. I have Carter. You had Lane Johnson. 3, you have Carter. And 3,
yes.
I have Saquon. and I'm assuming Jalen's 4.
Jalen's my 4th. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is my 4th.
Jalen Hurts is your 4.
I have Jordan Mailata and Devontae Smith as honorable mentions.
Did I close that window?
How do you feel about those honorable mentions?
So, like I said, I don't have Jalen on my top 4. 4 for me is Mailata.
Nice. Nice.
I just
If you had to
think
pick 2 honorable mentions, quick, go.
2 honorable mentions. I think easy is Devontae Smith, and then Dickerson.
Ooh, avoiding the quarterback still. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. I think as much flack as Hurts gets, with this type of offense, with these players at this team, I think even going back to what Michael Parsons said, like we have top 10 players everywhere. Like it's hard not to.
There's no
It's like
excuse
it's
for Jalen.
silly. It's Barkley, AJ, Devontae. All our skill positions on offense are top 10 players. And then look at our linemen. Mailata, Lane, both top 10
Landon's
tackles.
top 5 at his position.
Top 5. And people might argue Mailata. And then Dickerson's what? Top 3 guards
Dickerson
in the league? Right? And then obviously defensively is where we kind of fall off here a little bit. But I mean, offensively, like on paper, like I mean, it's hard. It's hard. Like it's hard. It's hard not to you got to look at the center to find the hole of where we're missing. Right
guard.
So
right guard more than center.
Yeah, Steam. Yeah.
Right guard.
So.
Hole. But other than that, I mean, tight end 2 and right guard. So what?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't, and then you go on defense. I mean, I want to say Gardner Johnson because he's such a huge playmaker for me, but he's hurt a lot.
Inside linebacker and depth at defensive end. I mean, they just.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about like if you wanted to keep going down the list, right?
Well, I mean,
keep going down the list.
Not really. I mean, he's a game changer at times. He's a big time player. I mean.
Yeah, no, he is. He's a ball.
I'm a big fan. But
yeah, I'm a fan.
Slay still kind of outweighs what he does on a game-to-game basis. Slay's fallen off a couple times toward the end of the season the past 2 years, but there's some tape that he put on against Justin Jefferson in the past 2 seasons that is flawless. And
he's just not a number 1 anymore. That's all. Like he's a starter, but he's just not a number 1.
He's still a number 1, but he's not he's a zone scheme number 1. You know what I mean? He's not going to play press man. He's going to use his film study to get ahead of the receiver.
He's a vet. He's a vet.
Yeah, he's going to take advantage of the old guy. This is his last year, being effective. This is it. Like, I mean, and I'm predicting him to be effective, but there could be a major drop off. But the team is prepared for that. So even if
I think so.
he falls off, they're fine.
Mitchell and that's why Bradbury's still in the team.
No, because they have Keely Ringo and.
You say Ringo? Come on, man.
Yeah, Ringo has had a really good offseason.
Oh, okay. We'll see what happens when he lines up. He looked good when he first came here, too.
AJ Brown personally noted Keely Ringo is one of the young corners to watch due to the fact that he is still younger than Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah. We will see. We will see how it goes. So,